Hey guys, Drutter here. It's the 4th of September 2019 and I'm just out in my back garden and just some basil and other plants here and a bear garden in the background because, well, I'll get to that next year, but I just wanted something in the background for you to look at instead of a computer screen or something. I don't usually put my face on video, so this is something for you to look at while I talk about crypto mass adoption has been reached when my ex comes knocking for Bitcoin. Sorry, there's some traffic sounds in the background. It's just rush hour here. I recently moved to the sunny, beautiful Okanagan interior of British Columbia. It's beautiful. Really enjoying it. I do live near a little bit of traffic here. I'm used to that coming from Vancouver. So, and this isn't specifically about my ex, although it probably does apply. Yeah, it's not about her. This is just about the idea that public perception, basically. And public perception is, in a lot of ways, everything. And that is certainly true with currencies. If a public does not accept a currency, it doesn't happen. And there's many, many cases throughout history where the public will not accept a currency. For example, if a currency is turned from, say, gold and then silver is replaced instead, the public will be very skeptical of that because they realize that the government has taken value out of that currency. And when silver was removed and replaced with copper and nickel and then to steel and now essentially to nothing, and now we use digital currency for the most part, there is no value at all in there. And people at all these stages questioned things and did not accept it. And many times, money or currency that was put out in public, a lot of money even spent to do so, would have to be rolled back and recalled and totally redone because the public did not like the currency. Sometimes it was even the pictures on notes and stuff like that. People piss people off and they will not accept it. It's no joke. So public perception in currencies is everything. And that is why it's so important to understand what's going on with public perception in cryptos. And like I said, when is mass adoption going to be happening for cryptos? I've been paying attention to this since 2011, talking about it on my YouTube channel ever since then, and talking about Bitcoin as the future because I could see that that's what it was. I didn't know who was in charge of Bitcoin. I never invested in Bitcoin. I knew it was going. I said it could go easily to $1 million, and I still believe that. I said that from the very beginning. When it was 1 cent, I said that. But I don't, that's not me anyways, that's not what this video is about, but I don't invest, I'm not an investor. A lot of people did invest off of my advice and did do very well in Bitcoin. But it is public perception that matters the most about a currency, and if people don't accept it, it's not a currency. For example, is Bitcoin a currency now? Yes, it is functioning as a currency, but it is not mass adopted currency. It's not like the Canadian dollar or the euro and so on and so forth. It's not even as publicly accepted as, say, Libra. Libra is now Facebook's, not cryptocurrency, but virtual currency. Very different. It's video game gold is what virtual currency is. But Libra, that's gaining traction, and the public is starting to come on board with that. I think Bitcoin and such sort of broke the barrier for the public to understand, okay, sometimes currency can be stored in digital forms. Okay, it's kind of like my bank account already in a way. Okay, they kind of got that, and it's taken a little while, but in general, if you talk to the public now, they've heard about Bitcoin. Usually, most of them have heard about it at least, and have some understanding that there's some kind of a blockchain or cryptocurrency behind it, and that's really what the layperson knows at this point, in my opinion. That's what they believe now. But as for the perception of whether or not it is money or currency, that is starting to turn into a yes, I believe. And so at some point, people like me, just an example of what might happen in life, many things will happen, but this is something that will happen in my life, is my ex will come and say, I heard you have, 0.1 Bitcoin or whatever it was. I don't actually anymore, but if this was the case, she might come around and say, I hear, or say if Steam goes up really, really well, and she comes around and says, I hear you got some cryptocurrencies. I don't know much about it, but if you've got money, I want it. So if and anyone, this will cause a lot of financial problems for people, and sometimes it'll help people, and sometimes it'll not help people. It'll have its pros and cons for sure. But mass adoption does seem to be starting to come around, and yes, if you owe your ex money, she may come knocking for that Bitcoin. And, whereas before you were just one of those weirdos that was trading magic tokens on the internet land, now, you've got $0.3 million worth of cryptocurrencies, I see. I think you owe me about 100,000 of that. Yeah, my lawyer wants to talk to you. Right? That's mass adoption. That's when Bitcoin is going to be going to, I don't know about 1 million, but it's going to be going into the 6 figures anyway. And ultimately probably to 1 million and more if, we don't know that. We don't know for sure, but it has that possibility. And when I said that 7 years ago, or whenever it was, 8 years ago, when I said Bitcoin can go to $1 million, I was told I was nuts. I was told I was insane. These are by monetary theorists, people who know what they're talking about, like Stella Concepts on YouTube and stuff. He said to me, "What are you doing? You're discrediting yourself," basically. He said, that doesn't make any sense. There's not even any way Bitcoin could go to $1,000, let alone $1 million. I don't know why you're saying that. That's so much higher than the price of even silver or gold, or even gold. It was almost the price of gold was $1,000 at the time. I think it was $1,200, and how could it go to $1,000? And I was proven right that very year. I think it was 2013 I said that, and that's when it happened. It went up to over $1,100. And since then the skeptics kind of quietened down, but I've been right about Bitcoin all along. And I still believe that public perception is coming. I said that from the beginning. I said that looks like it could be a game changer. And I got unsubscribed. I got hated on. I got told to get out of the silver gold community on YouTube, etc., 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 because I even just mentioned Bitcoin. I lost a lot of support because I talked about Bitcoin, but I would very carefully do it too. I would put it in just the last 30 seconds of a video worth a lot of silver and gold analysis, silver demand, and all kinds of charts and stuff like that. And then I would put, 30 seconds of a Bitcoin chart and just tell people, Bitcoin's at $35 or whatever it was. Just have a look at this thing. It's possibly a new currency that's coming along. I think it has the possibility to become a real currency and used as money or currency in society. So just check it out, people. And the rest is history. But that brings up the question, what makes something a currency, right? What makes something a currency? We've talked about that a million times. I'm not going to go all into it here again, but that's a very important question when it comes to cryptos especially. And we need to pay attention to the definitions too. If something's a cryptocurrency, it has specific properties, including decentralization and hopefully some kind of privacy and so forth. And you have complete control over your money. It's in your wallet, on your computer or device or whatever, or stored in your head or even on paper or whatever, but you have that full power. That's a cryptocurrency. There's new things now, virtual currencies, that have none of those properties. And they're being lumped in together as digital currencies. So yeah, they're digital, but everything's digital currency now. Even the dollar is mostly a digital currency now. Very few dollar bills are out there to account for the trillions and trillions and trillions of US dollars. So it's mostly digital is what is all currency now, unfortunately. I like physical money, but most currency is in digital form now. So what makes something a currency? Well, it can be digital. We've shown that. Yeah, it works. It's not necessarily a store of value, and it doesn't necessarily have intrinsic value. It can. I'm not saying that crypto can't have intrinsic value, but ones and zeros itself has no intrinsic value unless that code has value, and that's another topic. But it is starting to be accepted, and what makes something a currency? One of the things that can make something a currency, mass adoption. If the people accept it, then it is a currency. If people are using it to store value and to make payments, that's a currency. And that is happening. So mass adoption will happen when the majority of people in the public, that 50th monkey or whatever it's called, flips over and we get just a sudden surge. The prices will go up, yes. And uses for your cryptocurrencies will skyrocket. You'll have tons more flexibility and freedom and things to do with it even than we do now. And of course regulation will try and come in as well. That's another aspect of it. and all that will happen at once, but if people are using it to store value and to make payments with something, that's a currency. And that is happening with Bitcoin and with many other cryptocurrencies. So mass adoption is around the corner. If you haven't noticed that yet, please pay attention. And cryptocurrencies are the future. For better or for worse, they are going to be part of the story at least. So, just watch out. If your ex thinks that you owe her money, and all of a sudden they aren't just silly magic tokens that you're fooling around with on the internet anymore. She considers that to be money that she wants a piece of. Well, there you go. Mass adoption. Thanks for listening, and talk to you guys soon.